AI never sleeps, and we've had yet another insane week in the world of AI. We have a new system called Chai, which can predict proteins, DNA, and other small molecules, and this can help immensely in drug discovery. OpenAI unleashed their latest model, o1, which has intelligence at the PhD level. This study found that AI can actually be more creative compared to humans. Google's robot masters tying shoelaces, and a lot more. So let's jump right in. First of all, the star of this week is, of course, OpenAI's latest model called o1. This is based on the rumored Strawberry or Q-Star project, which has advanced reasoning. This is a new AI that can reason through complex tasks like never before. So, for example, the green bar is GPT-4. This is already the world's leading AI model, and then the orange and red bars are the new o1 model. And just look at how insane its performance is compared to GPT-4o. So it absolutely crushes in competitive math, competitive coding, and PhD level science questions. I mean, these are all questions that very few humans in the world are able to solve and get correct. And these require a lot of deep thinking and reasoning. But o1 just crushes all of these. Now, I already did a full review video on o1 where I go over how it works, how you can use it. I test it out with various prompts and compare it with Claude 3.5. So definitely check out this video if you haven't already. In other news, Runway just dropped a game-changing feature. You can now upload a video and turn that into a different video. And this is seriously cool. It can transform one video into a completely different style. This isn't just a simple filter, but the AI understands what's in your video, so it can change the style, the effects of the video, while keeping the content intact. That means the characters, the actions, the scenes stay the same. Now think what this means for video creation. It's like having a whole team of actors, a whole VFX team in your pocket. Anyone wearing their boxers in their basement can create Hollywood-level scenes just by filming themselves. They can turn into any character, they can create any scene, and it'll just be filming themselves acting any scene in their basement. This could revolutionize indie filmmaking. Alright, next up, Google also launched something really cool this week called Audio Overviews. This is actually a very useful feature. So this is part of their Notebook LM, and what it does is it can take any text, so for example PDFs, Google Docs, a blog article, or even Google Slides, and it turns it into a podcast episode. And this isn't just a generic robotic AI voice, it's actually a conversation between two AI agents, and they sound very realistic. So really quickly, I'll show you how to use it, and I'll show you a demonstration of what it can generate. So all you gotta do is go to Notebook LM, which I'll link to in the description below, and then we just need to click Create and upload a document. So you can either upload a document or PDF, you can upload from your Google Drive, you can paste in a link to a blog article, for example, or you can even just paste in the text over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to upload this PDF, and I'm going to go over this paper in this video in a second as well. So I just dragged and dropped the PDF onto here, and then afterwards you'll see this audio overview section. So let's click generate and see what that gives us. And by the way, while we wait for this to generate, I'll show you another demo from Google. So they just plugged in this blog article. So here's the blog. So they took this blog and they generated an audio overview from it. Let's play this so you can hear what it sounds like.
You ever get that feeling like you're just drowning in information, articles, PDFs, websites, all promising to like unlock the secrets of the universe?
Or at least help you finally finish that research project you've been putting off.
Exactly. It's like trying to drink from a fire hose, you know? I mean, I love learning new things, but who has the time to actually go through all of it? Wouldn't it be amazing if there was some kind of like AI that could do the reading for you? Mm-hmm. And then just like tell you the good stuff?
Well, what if I told you that's exactly what we're diving into today?
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, it's called Notebook LM, and it's Google's latest AI assistant. And get this, it just got a major upgrade and it's available worldwide now. We're talking potential game changer here.
Okay, you've got my attention.
Really?
So we're basing this deep dive on a recent article from Google's keyword blog.
Catchy title, by the way.
Right.
Notebook LM goes global with slide support and better ways to fact check.
Definitely snagged my attention. But let's back up a bit for our listeners who might not be familiar. What exactly is Notebook LM and why should they care?
In a nutshell, imagine you're working on a project, Could be for work, for school, even planning your next vacation. And you've got, a ton of research.
A mountain of research, probably. Let's be real.
Right, exactly. Notebook LM is like having this super smart research assistant, someone who not only reads it all for you, but then can answer any question you have about that information.
Okay, so it's like more than just a summary, right?
Way more. It's about creating this dynamic knowledge base, but it's tailored to your source material.
So I'm going to pause it right there, but first of all, just notice how realistic these two people sound. They're laughing, they're talking with, natural tones. This sounds like a real conversation between two podcast hosts. And, they're actually explaining this blog article, but in a conversational tone. And by the way, this is all thanks to Gemini 1.5's advanced multimodal ability. So this isn't the old woke version of Gemini, all right? This is their latest version, and it is actually really, really powerful. See this video if you haven't already. But anyways, multimodal means it can handle anything from text, images, and audio. So it's actually really easy for it to convert a text document into an audio conversation. Plus, by the way, when you upload sources here, you can process up to 50 different sources at the same time, and each source can have up to 500,000 words. That means you can consider a total of 25 million words when you're generating your notes. And this is possible thanks to Gemini 1.5's huge token context window. This is actually the biggest window out of all the AI models out there. So you can see with this tool, and it is currently free right now. I'm not paying for any enterprise plan or anything. You can just drag and drop your notes onto here and generate a full audio podcast or conversation for you. Now, there's one super useful use case I can immediately think of. This is a great tool for audio learners. In other words, people that learn better by listening. I think this tool would be a game changer. For example, let's say you're a student. Well, you can just plug in your lecture notes into here and then convert it into an audio episode to listen to. Now, our audio overview is finished loading now, but actually what I'm going to do first is I'm going to wait until I talk a bit about this paper, and then I'll play this podcast episode for you about this paper so you can see how accurate this is. So we'll go back to this in just a second. But anyways, what do you think of this text to audio tool? Let me know in the comments below. Do you think this will change the future of podcasts or audiobooks? In other news, French AI startup Mistral just released something exciting called Pixtral 12B. Now, they don't do any marketing or anything, they just dropped it via a magnet link on Twitter, as they always do. But basically, Pixtral 12B is their first multimodal model. In other words, it can handle both images and text. And best of all, you can download it for free under the Apache 2 license. So what exactly is Pixtral 12B? Well, first of all, it's a decent-sized model with 12 billion parameters, so not as small as, for example, Microsoft's Phi 3 Mini, which is only 3.8 billion parameters, and this is small enough to run on your smartphone, for example. But this Pixtral 12B is smaller than a mid-sized model like Llama's 70B, which requires a very high-end GPU to run locally. In contrast, since this is only 12 parameters and it's only 25.4 gigabytes in size, you actually don't need the best of the best hardware, and you can still run this locally on your computer with a decent grade NVIDIA GPU. Now, it's built on Mistral's existing text model called Nemo 12B, but instead of only being able to handle text, Pixtral 12B can now process images as well. Now, Mistral is great for open sourcing everything, and so for Pixtral 12B, you can also download the model on Hugging Face or GitHub or via the link that they tweeted. And this is insanely powerful. You can now have a vision and text model which you can run on a consumer-grade GPU. So you can upload an image and ask it questions about the image, all locally on your computer without having to connect to any cloud server or any API or internet. And from its license, anyone can use and fine-tune it freely. Anyways, Mistral has also announced big plans for Pixtral 12B. They will soon integrate it into their chatbot called Le Chat and their API platform, which is called Le Plateforme. Hope I pronounced that correctly. Anyways, props to the Mistral team for pulling this off and continuing to build open source models to share with the community. Alright, this study is quite interesting. So in social media, I've seen a lot of AI doubters say that AI doesn't have any creativity. It doesn't have any originality. It can't create any new ideas from scratch. However, that's not really true. You see, so-called human creativity is still based on what we perceive from life. Yes, we can create new things and new ideas, but in a sense, these are all influenced by what we've experienced in life. We still need some foundation or inspiration first. If we don't know anything about the world, we can't create any new idea. So all our new ideas, all this so-called creativity, is still based on life and our experiences. And AI is no different. Yes, the neural network is basically a pattern recognition algorithm, but it's learning from the data of life. It's being fed with all the data on the internet, and through this, it's learning how life works, and it uses it to generate new ideas. So actually, in this study, researchers have made an interesting finding about AI and creativity. They found that AI-generated ideas are seen as more novel than those from humans. So here's how they conducted this study. First, they got over 100 NLP or natural language processing researchers to participate. So they were asked to create new ideas, and then these ideas were mixed with AI-generated ideas. These NLP researchers were then asked to review both the human-generated and AI-generated ideas to see which ideas were more creative. Now, this was done blindly. In other words, researchers didn't know which ideas came from AI and which were from humans. And surprisingly, their evaluation results showed that AI ideas, these are the ideas in blue, you can see they have a much higher novelty score than the human ideas. So this chart already disproves those comments that say AI cannot be creative or it's less creative than humans. Here it shows that actually it can have a higher novelty score. Here's another example, and the red asterisk shows a significant difference compared to the human ideas. So for both novelty and excitement, the AI ideas had a significantly higher score compared to the human ideas. However, in terms of feasibility and effectiveness, there was no significant difference, and some reviewers felt that the AI ideas were less practical, and this could be due to the lack of self-evaluation from the model. Another observation was there was limited diversity in the AI-generated ideas. So why does this study matter? I think this question has been asked and debated quite a lot. Can AI truly spark innovation and do science and discover new things? A lot of doubters say AI can't do these things because it has no originality, but actually this study disproves that. AI does have creativity, and it does actually have the power to come up with novel ideas, which are even better than human ideas, and this could potentially help us achieve new discoveries. Now, if you remember earlier, I generated a podcast from this article. Now that I've gone over the article, let me also play you this podcast episode.
All right, diving right into it today, we're looking at something that sounds like pure science fiction. AI generating its own research ideas. And get this, it's not just coming up with ideas, it's being positioned as potentially better at it than human experts.
Yeah, and we're way past the speculation phase here. There's actual research on this, hard data, charts, the whole 9 yards. We're talking a real scientific paper, and they really put this question to the test.
Okay, so how do you even begin to compare human ingenuity to, AI-generated ideas, especially in the scientific context?
Well, in this case, the researchers created this AI agents specifically designed to generate research directions. They focused on natural language processing, so NLP.
NLP, right.
Yeah.
So we're talking AI that understands and generates human language. What were these AI-generated research ideas focused on? What were they actually trying to get the AI to, brainstorm on?
They focus on 7 really hot areas within NLP. Things like how to address AI bias, how to improve AI safety, even having... They had actual NLP experts brainstorm ideas.
Whoa. What happened there? Anyways, let's continue.
Topics.
Okay, so Team Human versus Team AI. I'm in. How did they actually measure whose ideas were better, though?
This is the really cool part. They brought in over 100 NLP experts to be judges, but they did blind judging. The experts had no idea if they were looking at an idea from a human or from the AI.
A true double-blind study. Love that for eliminating bias. So were the AI-generated ideas actually novel? Like, do they bring something new to the table?
So in terms of just pure novelty, the AI blew the human experts out of the water. It was rated as significantly more novel, and that's even after some really rigorous statistical testing.
Wow. Okay, so it wasn't just spitting out existing research. It was actually suggesting completely new ways of looking at things. What does that say about how AI approaches, like, research compared to how humans do it?
Right. This suggests that AI might be less held back by the existing assumptions and paradigms in a field. Maybe it can unlock totally new research avenues that humans just wouldn't even think of.
Okay, I need an example. Give me...
All right, so let me just pause it there so you can see how this podcast episode really does summarize this article very accurately. And it doesn't seem like you're attending some really boring lecture. It's just a very casual conversation between two podcast hosts, and it's actually a very good way to learn. Thanks to the sponsor of this video, UPix. Their version 2 just came out, and I must say, this is one of the most realistic AI selfie generators I've used. UPix has made it dead easy for you to generate high-quality, realistic images of yourself or anyone else in just one click. It works on desktop as well as on your phone. You don't need to install any apps or anything, it just works straight from your internet browser. Simply select a template, and then upload your photo, and then click Create. It's as easy as that. And look how realistic the results are. There's many templates for you to choose from and more to come, so check it out at upix.app. In other news, Google DeepMind has released 2 things this week that are really exciting. So they've introduced 2 systems. The first system is called Aloha Unleashed. I'll link to this article in the description as well so you can read through their technical paper if you want to. But let me just show you this video. So this Aloha Unleashed system lets robots use 2 arms to do complex tasks. For example, it can finally tie shoelaces, hang shirts, and even fix other robots. By the way, we've seen some pretty nice looking robots out there, like the Figure 02 or maybe the Tesla Optimus, or maybe 1X's newest robot, but all of these aren't actually very good at dexterous tasks like tying shoelaces. In fact, most of these robots can only pick up and place objects, and most of them can only do so using a single arm. There's very few demo videos of any robot using both arms to manipulate an object and do more complex things like tying a shoelace. So here it says the Aloha Unleashed builds on their Aloha 2 platform, which was based on the original Aloha, which I've covered in a previous video. And so how this works is it's trained using teleoperation. In other words, first you can see here on the top, a human is actually showing it how to do a certain task first. And then after several dozen rounds of training, then it learns how to do it by itself automatically without any human guidance. And the cool thing about this is it's not just one arm, but 2 arms. It also reacts to new environments. So here's the robot arms trying to open this lid by itself. So this is not teleoperated, but midway, this human knocks this cup off the robot's hand. So autonomously, it learns to actually pick this cup up again and open the lid. So that was Aloha 1. Now they've released an advanced version which can do even more complex and dexterous tasks. Plus, they've also released this new system called Demo Start. This is a new reinforcement learning algorithm that helps robots learn in virtual simulations. So how this works is, first of all, these robots learn how to do something like pick up an object, or in this case, how to insert a plug into a socket via virtual simulations. So this video on the left is not real. This is all done in a virtual environment, kind of like the metaverse, but it just simulates the physics of the real world. After a few rounds of training, the robot has learned to now do this task in its policy, and once you deploy this policy in the real world, so this is the video on the right, this is a real physical robot arm, and you can see that it can execute this task perfectly in the real world. And this is zero shot, which means it was never trained on any physical data. There were no physical training rounds involved. All its training was done in this virtual environment on the left. Now, previously, it takes like thousands of rounds of training in this virtual environment for a robot to learn a new thing, like walking or balancing or manipulating objects. However, with Demo Start, it requires 100 times fewer simulated demonstrations for a robot to learn how to do a certain task. And so in this virtual simulation, the robotic arm had a success rate of over 98%. In various tasks, including reorienting cubes with a certain color showing, tightening a nut and bolt, and tidying up tools. And then once this is deployed in the real world, zero shot, which means it wasn't trained further on any physical rounds, it still achieved quite a high accuracy, so 97% success rate on cube reorientation and lifting, but however, for inserting a plug into a socket, it only had a success rate of 64%. So for tasks that require high finger coordination and precision, it did perform lower. However, this still is a very impressive achievement. With Demo Start, now it requires 100 times fewer simulated demonstrations to train a robot and then deploy it in real life. In other news, this startup called Chai Discovery has just launched a new model called Chai 1. This is an AI system that can predict molecular structures, and this is really helpful for drug discovery. Chai 1 can predict proteins, small molecules, DNA, RNA, and more. And this is actually very similar to AlphaFold 3, which can also do the same thing. I already did a video covering AlphaFold 3 when it first came out, so check out that video if you want to learn more about that. Anyways, this is very useful for drug discovery because it allows researchers to explore a wide range of potential candidates for drugs. You see, how drug design works is they first need to identify the culprit. This could be the molecule of a disease, for example. So let's say this yellow blob is a protein that is involved in causing a disease. This is our target. So the researchers would try to design another molecule that can bind to it or react with it to deactivate this disease. The problem is that at the molecular level, there are so many different possibilities on how to combine both organic and non-organic molecules together to design something that can bind to this target. And once you've designed something, it's also really hard to predict how effective this actually is, unless you test it out in real life. So by providing accurate predictions of molecular structures and their interactions, Chai 1 can significantly speed up the initial stages of drug discovery. It can help identify promising candidates more quickly. It can also assist in optimizing existing drugs by predicting how structural changes might affect their efficacy. So you can see here Chai 1 is the dark blue bar, and across all these benchmarks, this is basically the success rate. It outperforms AlphaFold 3 and other similar systems. And here's another very powerful advantage of Chai 1. It can generate accurate predictions even with incomplete information. So it can operate without these multiple sequence alignments, or MSAs, which are often required by other models. So here it says Chai 1 is the first model that's able to predict multimer structures using single sequences alone, without using these multiple sequence alignments. And they can do so at the AlphaFold multimer level quality. So basically what this means is it can work with incomplete information. It can work with only like single protein sequences or raw molecular data or even just experimental findings, and it's still able to predict the structures and interactions of whatever it's trying to design with very high accuracy. Now, what's exciting about Chai 1 is it's available for free, so you can access this via a web interface, and I'll link to this article in the description below so you can click through all of these links if you want. And so this web interface is allowed for commercial use, such as drug discovery, but they've also released the weights and inference code on GitHub for non-commercial use, so you can actually download this and play around with it if you really want to. Anyways, that sums up the highlights in AI this week. Let me know in the comments what you think of all of this. As always, I will be on the lookout for the top AI news and tools to share with you. So if you enjoyed this video, remember to like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. Also, there's just so much happening in the world of AI every week. I can't possibly cover everything on my YouTube channel. So to really stay up to date with all that's going on in AI, be sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter. The link to that will be in the description below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.